Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fuck with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need OG Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen them down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex, but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all, I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin continuing to consolidate sideways, guys. Are we going to come take the highs one more time and sweep our wick sitting at $105,000? Are we going to push into the $107,000 Fibonacci extension level? Or are we going to come down first? I'm going to cover both scenarios with you guys today and talk about what we're seeing on Market Cypher B. If you guys tuned into last night's live stream, you will know that we looked at a potential signal on Market Cypher B pointing towards seeing a move to the upside. However, it was kind of lackluster. We didn't really get that much of a move. We kind of just continued to go sideways. So that was kind of our best chance to see that move up. But we do have one more signal on Market Cypher B. We're going to cover all the key levels, all of the signals on Market Cypher B. And we're going to help you guys figure out what that next move on Bitcoin's going to be. I'm going to share with you guys kind of what I'm waiting for, what I'm looking for my next trades. And it's going to be a good stream. But guys, special announcement here. It is Tony D's birthday today, so show him some love in the chat right now. Whoa, shout out to Crypto Billy. You almost front-ran me on that birthday wish. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Says, happy birthday, Tony D. I appreciate you, Billy. Drop a happy birthday for our boy Tony D in the chat, guys. There is no Frankie Candles without Tony D. I know he doesn't come on camera a lot, but he is 100%. There is no Frankie Candles without Tony D. Literally, like, I can't explain how much he does for us. So shout out to Tony D. Show him some love in the chat. And should we do it? Tony's going to be like, no, don't do it. Any super chats that we get today will be fully going towards Tony's birthday, and I will match it And I'll cover the YouTube fee so he gets 100% of the chat. So shout out to Tony D. Happy birthday, bro. We love you. The Candle Mafia loves you, and your boy Frankie Candles loves you. So shout out to Tony D. We got Chemistry Bro in the chat, said happy birthday to the real Candle Mafia boss, Tony. Hey, his name is Tony, right? That's like you guys can't make it up, guys. Like Frankie and Tony. We got Tony D and Frankie C in the house. Absolutely unbelievable. Shout out to K Diggity, wishing a happy birthday to Tony. I appreciate you guys for showing Tony some love, and I know he does as well. So show him some birthday love. We'll give him all the super chat revenue. And yeah, guys, we got a lot to look at here on the chart. But shout out to Mike Bennett. Shout out to LMI. Shout out to Gigalong Button. We got Cuz I Can Bump It. And shout out to Cuz I Can Bump It because we do have a can of Aztecian Cactus Moss Water. Let's go. We got the Mafia Aztecian Mafia Moss Water here for Tony's birthday. And it is going to be a slightly shorter stream, guys. I know it's a meme. I'm actually serious this time because we're taking Tony D out. We're taking Tony D out, so we're going to do it really quickly. We're going to run through the giveaways, do some Bitcoin TA, some altcoin TA, and then we'll jump into the giveaways, and then we'll take Tony D out, and we'll make sure he doesn't get too out of control. And we'll make sure he doesn't bring too many girls home either. But shout out to Tony D, and shout out to the Candle Mafia, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some extra chances to win some free crypto. So smash that like button. We're going for 1,000 as we do every single stream. If we get 1,000, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats as well. And without further ado, let's see. Neil said, Frankie, can you add why was I about to say adrenochrome? What is going on here? I almost leaked my Illuminati connection. But yeah, shout out to Neil. Said, can you take a look at Aerodrome, not adrenochrome? Is that what it's called? To your alt list today. Yes, I do have some alts already written down, and I'm going to try to take a look at as many as I can. But like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a short stream. But we will try to take a look at Aero. And shout out to Kembro dropping some super chats for Tony D. Shout out to Chemistry Bro. And guys, show the mod some love in the chat. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys. Let's see. Bullish on Parade said, well, you just blew the Bohemian Grove surprise party. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Quick insight here, guys. Bullish on Parade will be at that party. So anyway, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in here as Bitcoin continues to consolidate sideways. Now, the question here, guys, is, we talked about this a lot recently, talking about the possibility of potentially coming up and taking, Tony D, you infinite money glitch. Frankie's matching me, right? Shout out to Tony D, bro. You're crazy for that. You are crazy for dropping that, bro. But honestly, not a bad scam there. That's like a scheme and a half. Dang. Well, hey, shout out to Tony D. I guess, just double your money. Send me super chats and I'll double your money. Shout out to Tony D. He deserves it, guys. I'm not gonna lie. He definitely does deserve it. But I'm telling Alex Jones, shout out to Two Big Paws. Dang it! But anyway, guys, taking a look here. Let's go ahead and jump in now. Obviously, guys, just starting off here on the higher time frames, we cannot forget that we are obviously at key resistance here. We are sitting above or below the value area high of our macro range. And I was talking to the premium Discord in our premium live stream today, just kind of talking about, we've been talking about the potential drop down to $100,000. I know a lot of people are obviously anticipating that. A lot of times the market does not like to give the bears opportunities to get in on aggressive pushes to the upside. And I was telling the premium today, it's a little bit difficult right now, right? Because, almost every single time we're at a macro value area high here. Now, we did have short setups from $105,000 here, obviously, as that is typically where we are most focused on looking for short positions. And, it's a little bit conflicting, right? Because this is generally where we're looking for shorts. However, we've seen bullish CVD almost at every single one of these lows, which could be a bullish sign for a potential breakout. And we also, I will take a look at the heat maps today, guys. We also do still have some liquidity sitting above this wick. We know we have that key Fibonacci extension level sitting. Let me just pull up the local range real quick. We do have that Fibonacci extension level sitting at about $107,000. But even if we do end up, and if we do break out here, guys, if we come up first, I will say, this is still the key area that I'm looking at between, break $106,000 basically, just creep up into that $106,000, $107,000 level where you have that next Fibonacci extension sitting at 108. This is definitely the next major target to the upside, or I should say major local target. Obviously, I'm not talking like high time frame, new all-time high targets, but it does still remain our resistance level to the upside. We also do have a daily naked point of control sitting at that $108,000 level. So this is definitely going to be that next confluent area of resistance above the macro value area high as well as the local value area high, this smaller range. But it is a little bit confusing, right? Or not confusing, but a little bit conflicting because, as you know, I don't know if we're going to get that $100,000 drop first or if we're going to come up and sweep those highs. So I want to talk about those two situations. My main scenarios here are going to be pretty much, looking to come up. If we do come up first, I am going to be looking for a sweep of the highs. Now, we do have to be careful here because if we do crack that high, we could potentially see that short squeeze to the upside. Now, we do have some specific things that we're looking at in the premium Discord to potentially look for some short entries up in this area. However, we are going to be very careful because, as we know, we do have liquidity sitting up there. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull that up really quickly for you guys. Here it is, right on the heat map. You can see we do have that hot spot of liquidity sitting right up here above the high. Actually, it really kind of starts above this high right here at about $104,768. If we do creep in there, we might be able to see that liquidation wick, which is that liquidity sweep that I'm talking about. Now, whether that is going to be a liquidity sweep and a rejection to the downside or a just short squeeze up to higher prices is something that we're going to have to look at as the price action develops, as we're tapping that level. We'll have to look at the order flow, see if the longs are shorts are actually getting stopped out, or if we are actually going to see a bigger squeeze to higher prices. But the question is here, are we just going to do something like this where we just continue to squeeze to the upside? I will say this: if we are in some kind of an explosive move up, guys, it is very clear that when Bitcoin gets going, it does not like to pull back a lot. We've talked about this all week. You come up here, you start to creep up, you don't come back down to take the lows, you continue to the upside, very slight pullback, you just continue to grind to the upside. I know you can't see that through the profile. You just kind of continue to grind up, and like even in these local ranges, you don't really pull back at all to test the value area lows on that last attempt, right? You come from value area low to the high, to the low, to the high, and then you just kind of hold that POC and send it. So if we're in a situation like that, right, like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see 100K first, but as you guys know, anything is possible on the charts. So I'm kind of playing this as an if this then that statement. If we do come up, we have these short setups in the premium from the high here. I will be looking for rejections here, and even if they are just scalp positions to the downside before a bigger continuation up, again, we'll have to reassess the situation as we get there, because if we do get short confirmations up here, we do have to understand that value area high is going to be a very, very, very key level of support, because if we do break out and we're not just going to see a rejection back into the range for maybe then we get the bigger pullback. I'm going to go over that in just a minute, but if we do end up coming up here, we're just going to be looking for that sweep of liquidity, right? And this value area high is key support, right? Because there is a possibility that you come up, flip this to support, and just continue grinding to the upside. I'm kind of torn on this, guys, because if we do come up there, just understand, right? Like you sweep the highs, you come into those next levels between $107,000, or at about $107,000. If we do get the SFP, right, that would be amazing. But another thing that can happen here, it's a deviation above the value area high, right? So I'm 100% going to be looking for short positions up here. Maybe we squeeze through them, right? Again, if we don't get the confirmations, we won't take the trade. But, at that point, right, if we start seeing high time frame bearish divergences and we get stuck under this value area high, maybe that's kind of what's going to happen, right? Maybe we come up, sweep the highs, and then we go back down for that bigger correction. Targeting about $100,000 would be the next key level of support, which it does sit right here. It's in confluence, at least right now, with our 786 Fibonacci retracement when pulled from a local high or low into the not all-time high, but the current high right here. We did get that bounce off the golden pocket, and just naturally, if whether we come down here first or not is kind of the sticky situation that we're in. We're going to break down this local price action in a minute. We'll take a look at Market Cypher B and try to analyze what's going on here. But, if we do come up, sweep the highs, we get those bearish confirmations, we get stuck under the value area high, that could be where we see that bigger retracement if we don't come to 100K first. Everybody, right? I feel like a lot of people are waiting for that correction down, and it's not that we can't get it. And I'll show you the lower time frames in a second. But, I don't know. It's like I wanted this $100,000 tap as we push down into the golden pocket here, and we didn't get it. And there's probably a lot of people waiting for that level, which just kind of makes me think like maybe we don't get it, right? The masses are typically wrong. They do get it right sometimes. I'm not wrong every time, obviously. But I'm just playing an if this then that statement. If we come up first, I'm more comfortable taking bigger short positions if we see those bearish confirmations above the value area high, because again, that's just a deviation above the high. You get those bearish confirmations, get stuck into the range, then we go for $100,000, where everyone's kind of waiting for it right now. I prefer, honestly, to take it first, but I just don't know if that's the highest probability situation. So I am going to treat it as an if this, then that statement. So if we come up first, we might be able to see that happen. And if we are going to get stuck back underneath that value area high after sweeping those highs. I don't want to miss that opportunity, so I will be looking out for that. If we do come down first, we have a local range that we're watching in here. But again, the next major level of support, in my opinion, is going to be that $100,000 level. So this is definitely going to be a key level to watch, whether we come down first or we come down second, right? And maybe we just take off and we never go back down there. But again, as you deviate above the high, I have to look at that as an overvalued asset for at least some kind of a bigger correction. And we'll see if we get that or not. But if we do come down first, $100,000 still does remain that key level. 786 sits at about $100,170. And then obviously, if you can guess where that $100,000 psychological level lives, it sits at $100K. So that is going to be kind of the next major level of support. We do have a daily naked point of control just underneath that 786 sitting at 99.5. So it is a little bit of a nice little backup support level, right? Maybe we slip the 786, we fake out $100,000 psychological level, and then we come back up, reclaim, and then maybe that's where we could put that higher low in and higher high. That is going to be the first major area where I will be looking for a bounce for a higher low. Now, as we all know, once we lose that $100,000 level, as we've been talking about forever, this is a little bit more bearish for me, right? You lose $100,000, you can't reclaim the MPOC. At that point, I am going to be expecting the bigger drop down to the POC. I do think that if we come down first, there is probably going to be a little bit of a higher probability of getting the bounce. But again, it's going to depend on what price action looks like when we get down there. And again, these levels are the same levels that we've been looking at forever, right? Ever since we started ranging around up here, right? Ever since we got that first drop. And we did have some nice scalp longs in the Discord for this push to the upside. And we also caught that short from the local value area high. I'll talk about that in a minute. But at the end of the day, these are the key levels. This anchored VWAP, again, depending on when we come down there, this anchored VWAP will likely move its way up. And when we come down to 100K, it would be amazing. I would absolutely love this level even more if that anchored VWAP could come in confluence with that 786 zone on that daily naked point of control, because we know these anchored VWAPs typically give us really, really nice support. We looked at this all the way down at our macro value area low. I believe it was the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. I believe it was pulled from right about here. Once we got above that previous range value area low, we knew, hey, if we get above there and we start flipping that anchored VWAP to support, that would be very nice for the continuation up, and that is exactly what we got. So I will be watching that anchored VWAP, and I would love for that to come up and be confluent with this support level if we do come down there. Now, that is pretty much, this has been my overall plan like all week pretty much. We just kind of been going sideways within the local range, right? There's been no real opportunities to look for the bigger trades, but really only looking at those lower time frame scalp zones, which has just continued to be respected here, guys. Again, like we saw that dip down here on the premium live stream. We got into the long position. I actually closed this a little bit prematurely. I'm not going to go over why. I covered this many a times. But we did wind up getting the rise into the value area high, deviation above, caught this short position back into the range, back down to the POC, and then eventually we made our way to final TP down at the value area low, and then we deviated slightly below before we reclaimed, came up, flipped the value area low to support, back into the value area high, and right now, guys, we are potentially looking for another rotation of that range, right? We've come up here. We've rejected the value area high once and twice now with bearish divergences here. You can see the higher highs on your price action, or higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. And we are now potentially losing this POC, right? So if we wind up getting stuck underneath here, locally, and these are for like scalp. This is like scalp levels, right? I wouldn't consider these like super, super major levels. But, just generally looking at the volume profile, as we've seen this respected absolutely beautifully every single time. The anticipation here, if we can't get back above that POC, would be to see that continuation down to that value area low. Now, that value area low is also confluent with some local Fibonacci levels pulled from the swing low to the swing high. You can see our golden pocket is also confluent with that level right here. And, that's just a little bit of confluence, right? That would be nice if we are going to, let's say we're not going to go down to 100K. This could be an opportunity to look for scalp long positions. And then, maybe it is just another rotation of the range. But if not, if we are going to go sweep those highs after tapping into this level, this golden pocket would be an area to put in the low, high, higher low, higher high, right? So, opportunities just to look for a little bit of a bounce on that zone. Underneath that, we do have the 786 daily naked point of control. Daily naked point of control comes in at $102,267 with the 786 just below that at $102.44. So, once we lose this 786, maybe we could start looking down towards about $100,000, but this is the local range I'm looking at, right? We have the high time frame range. We understand the context here, and that's why I say it's such a difficult situation, right? Because, I'm really just using the idea of, not giving the masses what they want, looking for $100,000. But the volume profiles on the higher time frames, to be quite honest with you, it's not often, guys, that you will see me get on here when we are rejecting a value area high like we are right now. We tapped beautifully into this level. It's not often that you'll see me say, like, hey, guys, more often than not in this situation, I'm saying, like, hey, guys, we rejected the value area high, bearish divergences. We're looking for the POC at that point almost all the time. But with the context of the market right now, we have to be a little bit careful for this trend to potentially aggressively continue to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, right? Scalp levels remain exactly the same. This local range remains exactly the same. And we do have that nice confluence here on that scalp range with the golden pocket and that daily naked point of control just below. So that's our local range. And then we have our larger range, which obviously remains exactly the same. And then we also have our previous range volume profile, which sits here. It's almost the same levels, but slightly different. And again, it's just not all the time where we're looking for massive long positions when we're either playing around with a value area high or, more importantly, rejecting a macro value area high, right? Like, it's just not the place, right? Typically, we're looking for longs below the lows, right? Or even on a reclaim of the lows in order to push up to the POC, flip the POC, go to the value area high. And then once we get up to that value area high, we're typically looking for shorts to get back in. Can't get back out. Look for the correction down to the POC. So it's a little bit confusing here, if I'm being completely honest, right? Because the context is calling for a potential one more sweep of the highs, but we are below resistance with potentially, bearish confirmations, right? We did those bear divs into the high. So yeah, I'm just playing it as an if this, then that right now. I'm not holding any trades right now. I closed my short here. Actually, no, I did not close my short. I got stopped out in profit. Took this short in the premium, wrote it down, took some profit, moved my stop loss to break even, and then I got stopped out at break even in profit technically, but my stop loss was at break even price. But I got stopped out in profit there, so just kind of playing this around. I actually was not here to catch that scalp short at the value area high, but at the end of the day, my sentiment remains exactly the same, and those are the levels that I'm looking at for the next bigger reactions. So yeah, it's a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, right? Like, come up to the higher time frames now. Why do I think that we could potentially, even after a bigger continuation down, right? If we do get the bigger pullback, obviously we're gonna be looking at that $97,000 zone. We have a lot of liquidity sitting down there, guys. Let me pull that up real quick. Where's it at? Bada boom. Obviously, we do still have that bigger level of liquidity sitting down here at around $93,000. That sits just below our little area of consolidation that we have sitting right here, right? A lot of people entering longs here. Their stop losses go below the low, giving us a lot of liquidity there. So, in a bigger situation or a situation where we get a bigger correction to the downside, whether that happens before we sweep the highs or not, if we do lose $100,000 psychological level, that is going to be where I'm looking at, right? It's in line with the volume profiles. Let's just say we reject from here for argument's sake, right? The next big level, if we lose $100,000, is going to be, that's more bearish in my opinion. I would be looking towards that POC. And if we pull our Fibonacci retracements from the low of the range to the high, you can see that we do have the 786 golden pocket right in that $94,000 zone with the liquidity sitting just below. And when we look at our previous range volume profile, if we get down there, right, we come down to that 786, maybe we slip that 786, sweep that liquidity below these lows, and tap into that value area low. This is also going to be a big level. It's going to depend on what happens here. I do not want to get stuck under this 786. I would kind of be okay with a liquidation flush and a quick reclaim of that 786. That would be more bullish. But we don't want to get stuck under that 786, to be quite honest with you. But that's just going to be that next level, right? So just underneath us, we have the scalp range value area low. Underneath that, we have the $100,000 psychological level with the anchored VWAP. Once we lose that, I'm definitely at least looking down to this POC. And at that point, we're getting eerily close to that liquidity. So, and that's a really difficult situation, guys, because if we go sweep that liquidity, right, and we pull up the previous range real quick, right, if we come down to sweep that liquidity, bada boom, right, like even the previous range, like we're above the high. If we lose that $100,000 level, we start deviating below that POC. It's a difficult situation, right? Like, it's because if we're going to sweep that liquidity, we could come down to the low, which is a support zone that we would look for longs on, right? But, if we don't tap that value area low and we just sweep that liquidity and we front run that value area low, at that point, you've lost the value area high. You're below the POC. There is a possibility that you go back down to retest that value area low. So to be honest with you, it's going to be a difficult situation if we do come down here, right? But again, we're pretty far from that. Maybe we don't even come down and test that. Maybe we get the sweep of the highs, and then we come down to 100K, and then we send it back up. But one thing I will say is, it is nice to see that this local retracement level, this does sit, I'll give you guys this actual numerical zone, sitting between 97,159 and 94,673, with the exception of coming down and aggressively sweeping that liquidity. This is really the Fibonacci that you want to hold, right? Because if you don't put the higher low in here aggressively, right, you lose this. You're going to be looking to put it in here. And then once you lose that, you're really just looking down to that value area low. But again, we'll assess that situation as if and as it comes. But those are still the key levels, right? These are the same levels we've been looking at all week. Again, Bitcoin's just kind of been wiggling around sideways here. So we'll see what its next move is going to be. But that's how I am looking to treat my trading plan, right? Sweep the highs, look for the short, come down to 100K, starting to entertain looking for a long. If we lose it, much more bearish to look down towards the, I'm just going to call this the $97,000 zone, even though it really sits between 94.6 and 97.150. So yeah, if we look at the 2-day money flow as well, right? This is one of the biggest and easiest signals that I am going to look at, not only on Bitcoin, but also the altcoins, right? Once, we have the 2-day red dot, we have the 3-day looking to print the red dot as well. So we do have to understand, like, it would make sense to get some kind of a pullback here. I'm just going to be a little careful of sweeping the highs first. But, whether we come down first or go up first, these red dots are going to print at some point, very likely, and that could be the start of the bigger correction down. But again, at the end of the day, this 2-day money flow, if it is able to continue putting in higher lows and continuing the trend to the upside, this 2-day money flow crossover into the green could be the one very simple signal to look at to anticipate the bigger push to the upside, right? Because if we're going to come in, if we're just going to remain bullish here, right, and we're going to come in for even a deeper correction before continuing off into higher prices, and I will compare that to this price action back here because we saw something very similar happen, that 2-day money flow could potentially be the thing to indicate that that bigger move up is going to happen, right? The 2-day money flow crossovers are nothing to scoff at, right? Like even back here, 2-day money flow crosses over into the green, and we just continue that aggressive grind to the upside, right? So that is going to be the simple signal, right? If you're not looking at all the intermediary levels, all the Fibonacci retracements, the MPOCs, all that good stuff, that money flow crossover into the green could be just a simple signal to look at to anticipate that correction, continuation to the upside, right? Because the money flow is going to indicate the overall trend, right? The red dots could easily pull you back, right? But as long as that money flow continues to put in higher lows and continue trending to the upside, we could be looking at that as favoring longs on the pullbacks, rather, not that, again, not that I just explained this, right? Like we're not going to look for shorts up here, but it doesn't mean that, it's just going to be instant down, right? That money flow is going to indicate the overall trend, and hopefully we can hold those higher lows and continue up for our spot bags, hopefully. So that is pretty much what I'm looking at on Bitcoin, guys. Hopefully, in my opinion, I kind of like, I don't know. I don't really have my preference here really I had a preference of coming down first. Now, I really don't have a preference anymore, to be honest. I am just simply waiting for the levels to get hit, and then I'm going to react off of those as they come in, right? And then lose that 100K, we just look down there. And I want you guys to have these levels on your chart, because if we do get the bigger correction, right, this also might be a level to look at as well. Previous range value area high at 103.170, 103.160, right? Get stuck underneath here. Could give you that bigger pullback, right? And to be, fair, we do have, I don't really like this divergence, right? This is like kind of exaggerated, more equal highs than lower highs. But, even just looking at the 4-hour, say, right, you do have the higher highs on your price action above the value area low or value area high. If we get accepted back in there, we would just be treating that as a typical volume profile. But the context would say, I wouldn't be like super banking on 100% coming down to that POC. Usually I'm very confident in that. But with the context of the market, we do have to be careful. Hopefully this anchored VWAP works its way up and we can just hold it and send it. So those are the two major scenarios I am looking at, guys. Sweep for the bigger retracement, or come down first for the bigger breakout. That is what I'm waiting for, and I'm only going to react if those key levels are hit and I see those confirmations. And that is pretty much my plan. Now, locally, I will say this, right? As we looked at that scalp range, let me get these levels off the chart real quick just to clean things up. If we pull up that scalp range, I will just say this. Okay, I don't know why that took so long. But again, locally, we're just looking at this as our guide for price action. And maybe I'll look for some scalps here. I'll probably be out for Tony T's birthday when that happens. If we do come down here, unless we come down here on the live stream. But, we did get the SFP of the high here into the value area high, local bearish divergences. We also have the 4-hour red dot printing right now. 15-minute money flow has already been in the red here. So not really a market cipher B116 strategy, so I'll be just focusing more on the volume profile. Get stuck under here. Locally, we might be able to get that move down to the low into the support that we looked at just at the beginning of the stream. So that's my plan, guys. That's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin for the most part. Let me check in on chat real quick. Let's see. I am long in Bitcoin at 91K. Shout out to Seth Shepard. I mean, at the end of the day, if we do come down to $91,000 macro value area low, that is just generally an area where we do typically look for long positions, right? And that's why I say it's a little bit of a difficult situation, right? Like, it's hard for me to take big long positions with no significant pullback coming in here, right? At the end of the day, we look for longs below the low or into the low, and we look for shorts at the high and above the high, right? So that's like the general thought process, and that's why this is so difficult, right? Because if we're just going to squeeze up, it might be a little bit surprising, right? And sometimes price will just squeeze up without giving you signals or a setup or an opportunity to enter a long position, and if that is the case, then that's totally fine. We'll just wait for those higher levels and look for the scalp shorts on the way back down until we do get a retracement that we can look for longs on. But, just generally on the volume profile, this is typically where we look for shorts. This is typically where we look for longs, and so if we did get a move all the way back down to $91,000, lose the POC, come on down here, right? We also have a CME gap down here. If I pull up the CME chart, you guys know we do have the CME gap down there as well. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna come down and fill that, right? Like, it would be nice though, right? So if we did come down there, just understand that value area low is typically where we look for longs. And again, we'll talk 100 times before that happens, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to come down here over the weekend. Hopefully not. So if that does happen, if we're going live and we're sitting here or deviating below the low, chances are I am not looking for shorts down here because we look for them up here. We will be looking for longs down there if we get the confirmations. And, at the end of the day, if we pull some fibs here, if we pull it from this start of the impulse here into the high, you can see we do have confluence here on the golden pocket. So, from a Fibonacci perspective, even if we did come all the way down there on a higher time frame, right, like that could just be pullback for a higher low, right? Whip into that 786 golden pocket. Value area low, deviate below the low, we're relatively undervalued, right? And then it is an opportunity to put in a higher low. If we break down below that, to be quite honest, I'm not necessarily, I was saying the premium Discord earlier today, this is not my base case, but your full golden pocket retracement sits all the way down here at 86K. Again, we'll cross that bridge if and when we even get there, but, just understand, full Fibonacci retracement sitting down here at $86,300. 86,450, we'll call it. So there we go. Let's see. There's too much manipulation going on right now. Shout out to Brendan. That's the one thing about getting the big money into the market, that manipulation. Like, you want that big money, right? You want that institutional adoption, but you are kind of inviting the devil in, right? Because you do invite in all that. Manipulation, right? All right. Let's see. I would love to sweep this liquidity at 93K, trap the shorts, and then send it. Yeah, shout out to Aaliyah. That is literally one of the scenarios that we looked at. And again, right, guys, like trading and TA is not about just saying, hey, we're at a high, that's it. We're going down. We have to go down. We have to be bearish, right? The idea here is to find out all this, like, or not, you don't have to look at every scenario, right? Because then we would just be sitting, well, hey, we could bounce here. Hey, we could reject here. Hey, we could bounce here, right? Like, it just gets too messy, right? But what you could do is, like, look at the highest probability scenarios, list them in order of highest probability to lowest probability, and then make the highest probability your base case. And hey, if the market doesn't give you your highest probability move, you just look to that next scenario and you just analyze price as it pushes into those levels, right? You don't have to know, we have to come down here and that is the low and we have to long there. Right? Because if you come down there and there's no bullish confirmation, there's no reason to take a long, everything looks bearish, why would you even enter that trade, right? You would just want to let price go down, and hopefully you're enjoying a short from the high. So yeah, I would 100% agree. Let's see. Seth Shepard said, yup, and make a plan around that. Yeah, you have to have a plan, right? It's like I always say, trading is an if this, then that statement. And listen, could you hop on the charts and gamble? Sure, right? That's I know a lot of people like to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you understand the difference. But yeah, you just have to have an actual trading plan, an actual strategy, and when your plans change, right? And a lot of the times you're not going to know if your plan's going to play out, right? Like when we saw the massive bull divs down here at the low, we anticipated the breakout of our massive trend line to come into our macro golden pocket, which was sitting right here. And this was massive resistance. And we originally, well, not even really, but as we were looking down here saying, if we come up to that golden pocket, this is an area where we have a probability, right, of a lower high coming in for another lower low on your higher time frames. But as we got up there, what do? We analyze the charts with the new information. There's no way to know when you're all the way back here, bada boom, right? When you're all the way down here and you're saying, well, hey guys, massive bull divs, looks like we can get the bigger breakout, right? We have bullish confirmations below the value area. If we get the bigger move up, which looks likely with those high time frame bull divs, we also have the money flow coming up as well on the daily, right? Money flow starts to curve to the upside. That's what you want to see for a bigger move up. But when you look at that, you say to yourself, well, hey, if you're going to come in and put in a macro lower high for a massive lower low, this is the high probability area to do that at, right? But when you get up to that level, you don't know what your money flow is going to look like. You don't know what the charts are going to look like. You don't know the new information that's going to be on the chart when you get up there. So that's your base case, is you're sitting there and being like, well, hey, if it looks bearish up here, it could be a giga short opportunity. But as we pushed up into those levels, what did we see, right? Well, we didn't see the giga shorts, right? We actually had a shorts up here, but they were looked at as scalps until proven otherwise. Why? Because your money flow was in the green, indicating the overall trend was going to continue to the upside. So you can look for the rejections here and capitalize on those shorts, which we absolutely did. But with money flow in the green, the anticipation is, hey, be careful with the shorts, look for the higher lows and the higher highs, because we knew that with money flow in the green, the probability, or the highest probability at that point, right, was the continuation to the upside based off money flow. And we knew once we broke above that golden pocket, we had all the liquidity sitting above here that could push us into the value area high. And that's exactly what we saw, right? So you have to be able to change your sentiment as you get new information on the charts. If you're not doing that, you're pretty much gambling, right? You're just kind of sticking to your bias for no reason, right? It's very important to take that new information into account, especially if you're a trader. If you're just a long-term trader, right, you're just looking to buy on spot and hold it, at the end of the day, it's like, I would recommend not watching the charts every day, right? Like if you were just down here watching the bear market happen, you were dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, right? Like at that point, like you're just enjoying the long-term ride to the upside. And if you were buying down here, even this pullback to 75K was not that scary for you because, you're not in drawdown, right? You're just like, you went from massive profit to slightly less massive profit. So, you don't have to watch the charts. I actually recommend you don't do that. If you're just here for, investing in spot bags, it's good to check in on the charts on the higher time frames, but you don't have to worry about all these intermediary levels. Those are just for the scalp trades and the day trades. All right, let's continue on. Is Tony going to jump out and scare Frankie again this year? Shout out to Curtis Neal. Is he going to? I don't know. Did he do that on his birthday last year? I think he might have done that on my birthday. He jumped in and shot a bunch of confetti cannons, and I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, shout out to Curtis Neal. Maybe he'll scare me for his birthday. Let's see. Yo, shout out to V-Slim. Said, everybody buy Whiff. I need you to pump my bag. Shout out to V-Slim. Let's go, baby. Pump V-Slim's bag, guys. Let's see. Just here for the Cavs, to be honest. Should we show the Cavs? I haven't shown the Cavs in quite some time. Let's whip out those Cavs. Let me pull down my shorts, though, because they're riding up a bit. I'm not trying to show high thigh here. Maybe we'll pump. Nah, I don't know if we're going to pump here. We're losing the POC. We might just continue to dump. But we'll show the Cavs for some fun. And my nice socks that I have. Oh, yeah, baby. Spank that. Spank that calf, baby. Come on. Best calves in the game. Let's go. Shout out to All Day Trade. Said, V-Slim, lol, I was actually about to buy some Whiff. Let's go. But yeah, guys, we're going to take a look at the altcoins. Yo, shout out to Candle Chaser. Let's get it. Thank you for the super chat. Says, special thanks to Tony D for teaching me how to spell Yahoo. Shout out to Candle Chaser. I don't even really know what that means, but thank you for dropping a super chat for Tony D. Like I said, all the super chat revenue is going to go to Tony D's birthday. And if you missed the beginning of the stream, guys, it's Tony D's birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. He's the ripe age of 63 years old. Yeah. He got held back in high. That's how I know him for so long. He got held back in school for a really long time. No, I'm just kidding. Guys. We need a calf emoji. Yo, leg emojis are hilarious. Oh, we do have a calf emoji. Let's go. The leg emoji is hilarious. Usually people just drop the leg emoji, and it is the most awkward emoji on earth. That is a hilarious emoji. But we do have a calf emoji. But let's see here. We're going to take a look at nice calf, Frankie. Shout out to Jay Violet. I've been working on them. Like I said, this is just, there's no actual chair here. I'm just like sitting on my calves. That's why sometimes at the end of the stream, you start to see me shake. It's because I'm just sitting on my calves or standing on my calves. 63. Shout out to Cardano is the future. No, I'm just kidding. He is not 63. He's about half that age. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into some, let's go ahead and jump into some Ethereum. Big bullish on the gym. Shout out to Brendan. Yeah, I just go to work out my calves. That's all I do. Let's see. And I do finger workouts too, so I can, click long, short, drag it to 100x, that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead. Yo, calf BBL is crazy. But let's go ahead and jump into some of that alt TA, guys, because I do have to not wrap up soon, but I do have to make this a little bit of a shorter stream because we got somewhere to be. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and throw a timer here so I don't completely lose track of time. Bada boom. Okay, so taking a look at Ethereum, guys, as we all know, we've been looking at this for quite some time. We are rejecting the monthly naked point of control that we had here at about 27.28. And, overall, I don't want to cover this too much because we cover it every single day. But this is the value area low of the range right? We knew once we broke above $2,100, this has been our value area low, doorway to higher prices / key level of support. On the way down, we knew once we lost that, we were very likely to see a bigger drop to the downside. And then on the way back up, very similarly, we know that that is the big level we want to get above to get accepted into our upper value area. Get above that level, flip it to support. That opens up the door to the POC. And then once you get above that POC, you can start to look up towards some of these higher levels. One of them being one of the major ones being that monthly naked point of control at 27.28. We came up, we kissed that level oh so perfectly, just right in there. And now we're getting the rejection. So right now, if you were tuned in yesterday, same thing, right? POC is going to be your key level of support. If we do get the bigger correction down, right, this would probably be, in my opinion, in the case that Bitcoin does not sweep the highs, and we do see the bigger move down on Bitcoin first before sweeping the highs. Bitcoin headed down towards 100K. Maybe Ethereum pushes down towards the POC at about 2320. This is the key level of support. It's okay to get cool-offs here and potentially come down and test that POC, but as long as we stay above that POC, we could potentially keep that doorway open to our next key level, which obviously you have to reclaim that monthly naked point of control. And this is a little bit of a zone, right? Because I'm actually going to draw this real quick as a zone because we do have a daily horizontal just above that. This was kind of what we were looking at in the first place, right, with the monthly naked and the daily. Let me go ahead and hide these other dailies so we don't get all confused. Bada boom, right? So, as we bing bong below this level, right, POC is your key level of support. As long as you stay above that POC, the doorway is still open to potentially come up. Flip this zone to support. Once you flip this zone to support, which tops out on the daily at about 28.19, there really isn't that much, guys. There is not much above us leading into the golden pocket at about $3,069. Giggity. That is really the next target if we get above that daily. But again, not surprising to see that kind of correction here at the monthly naked point of control. Not that bad. Key level support, point of control. Now, again, if you could come down, the POCs act as a magnet for price, guys. Like, as we always talk about, we covered this in the premium live stream earlier today, right? Like, you get from the value area low, and we were looking at this exact same range, and you might be saying to yourself, well, Frankie, how the heck were you looking at that range over here if we're still looking at it over here? And the answer to that question, guys, is because this range was pulled all the way from 2021. We knew once we broke this high at about $2,100, which again is that same value area low, doorway to higher prices, we knew resistance until proven otherwise. Resistance until proven otherwise. Once you get in, it opens the door to the POC. And at that point, right, you can sometimes bing bong around the POC, right? It acts as a magnet. Price likes to cling to this level. And if you do lose the POC like we did right here, you can see, right, really the keyest level, if you will, is the value area low at $2,100, right? We got to the POC. We tried to get above it. We lost it. We got above it. We lost it. We got above it. And then finally, we pushed into that value area low before eventually pushing up through the larger profile. So I don't want to say that if you lose the POC, that it's just generally more bearish because you would be anticipating the value area low, but you could see a situation like I just showed you where you kind of bing bong around the POC, test the value area low for a bigger retracement, and then you get that bigger push to the upside. And if we pull our fib from the start of that impulse to the high, you can see we do also have golden pocket support on that value area low. This daily level is tapped, so I'm actually going to take that off the chart. Yes, I'm going to take that off the chart. So this is going to be, technically your biggest level of support that you do not want to lose, but the POC would be really nice to stay on top of, right? We looked at this on Solana, and when Solana was bing-bonging around inside of this range, you guys can see we went from the low, flipped it to support, went to the POC, got some turbulence, got above the POC, and then we knew that this was our key level of support. It wasn't just the POC, it was also a golden pocket confluence as well, right? We came down, we tapped the POC, we tapped the POC, we tapped the POC, but we remained above it. That keeps the doorway open to your value area high. So when we look at Ethereum, it's kind of the same thing. But in the case, right, maybe we do cool off, make sure you stay above that POC, and then the doorway is still open to higher prices, get above that daily, looking up towards the golden pocket. And if you do lose the POC, you would just be looking down towards that golden pocket value area low. So yeah, that's what we're looking at on Ethereum 2-day money flow. Also, same thing. This is the same thing on almost every altcoin on Market Cipher B, guys. You do have the 2-day red dot looking to print, which again could call for a little bit more of a correction. But as long as that money flow does continue to put in higher lows with a crossover into the green, right? You can get the cool off, maybe to the POC, maybe to the golden pocket, maybe you wick down to the 786. But either way, the overall continuation of the trend, if we can get that money flow crossover or at least a higher low here, that would be looked at as favoring your higher lows for higher highs, right? You would be favoring the long positions, looking for higher lows and a continuation of the overall trend to the upside. But we need that 2-day money flow crossover. We already got it on the daily, right? We got it on the daily. That's looking decent right now. So, eventually that 2-day is going to be expected to follow, hopefully. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. We're going to take a look at Solana in just a second. I'm on my way, Solana. Shout out to Brendan C. Make sure I didn't miss anything here in the chat. Solana is dumping. Yeah, so actually yesterday, let's talk about this real quick. Because yesterday, as we were looking at this deviation above the high, we were looking at a key level of support, which was the value area high of the range. And it kind of remains the same here, right? Like we came down, we tested the value area high. This is the level that you really don't want to lose. I don't want to say that, not for the long term, right? But this is like your biggest level of support as of right now. All right, we're coming back down to test it right now. Yesterday, we were looking at this as well, and it was holding, right? It continued to hold after the stream. We got a little bounce. Now we're coming back down. This still does remain your local key level of support. If we lose this value area high, this is still the key level of support we looked at yesterday. Daily naked point of control, golden pocket sitting between 160 and 160.38 and 158.66. This could be an area to put in a higher low before sending it back up. But I'll be honest here, guys. There's a few different levels here, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on Ethereum and kind of come back in time because, it's really difficult because typically I only like to look for longs, right? Like significant long positions, either below the value area low, as price is undervalued down here, or on a reclaim of the value area low. Because at that point, you're saying, well, hey, now we're reclaiming value area low. That could be looked at as a sign of strength to open up the door to your POC, which almost happens, I want to say, dang near every single time we look at it, right? It's not obviously every single time. I would say it has about an 80% hit rate. Once you get back in and reclaim that value area low as support. So we're always looking for longs down here and shorts up here, right? We're deviated above the high. We do have the bearish divergences that we were looking at yesterday. You have the lower highs on your momentum waves. Excuse me. You have the higher highs on price, lower highs on your momentum waves. And again, if you're looking for that correction down, you're going to be looking at that value area high as your first key level of support. However, that could be an area where you look to take some profit, but once you get stuck underneath this value area high, it does technically, in the long term, open up the door. If you're not looking at any of these other local levels, right, you would just be looking at this as, well, hey, if we get stuck under this value area high, that opens the door to potentially get a bigger correction down to the POC. This is potentially in the cards, right? Now, again, we do have the local levels that we're looking at. I'll pull those back up real quick. You have the local golden pocket daily naked point of control. Below that, you have a local 786. But at the end of the day, just like on Bitcoin, you probably do have a lot of liquidity sitting down here. And a lot of times, right, I don't want to say a lot of times, but sometimes what you can see happen on these volume profiles is in very specific market conditions, you could see a deviation above the high, one more test of the POC, and then a big move up. So this remains still the biggest level of support, in my opinion, on Solana. You could look at these local levels for bounces, even the value area high potentially. But in the longer term, right, we're going to talk a million times before this actually comes into play, very likely. But, that POC could be like still a very, 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 very big level to look at for a potential larger bounce. And if you pull your golden pocket from your kind of like your reclaim of the value area low all the way up to the high, you can see your golden pocket and your POC are somewhat confluent there. So it does just still remain a very, very key level. We don't know if it's going to be an aggressive higher low here for a big bounce up, or if you're going to go for that full POC retracement, right? But the reason this is so difficult is because I don't really love taking longs off of a point of control of the range, right? I'd rather look for the longs at the value area low. So it does, like I said on Bitcoin, it kind of goes against what I like to look at within the volume profile to anticipate bounces off these internal volume profile levels, not the extensions below the low. But we're kind of in that situation, right, where we might just be able to see the aggressive continuation up. You're not always going to see the full fill of the range, and this might be a situation where we see that. If you lose the POC, you have the 786 down here at $136, but I would really prefer to hold that point of control because, again, like if you're going to be looking for longs down here, you're kind of just longing into resistance. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, right, we do have those bearish divergences here, like even on the higher time frame, 16-hour bear div, deviation above the high. This is typically where you're going to be looking for shorts, not longing the top. And then, again, if you take that short, you're looking for a potential bounce off the value area high. That's your first area that you could flip to support. If you lose this, come down to the golden pocket, 786. Hopefully that's where we bounce. If not, you would just look down towards that bigger POC. Kind of similar to Bitcoin, to be honest with you. So yeah, like almost the same exact situation. It's just a little sticky because it's not all the time. If you ever watch this show, you know it's not all the time that we're looking for longs in the middle of the range. We're really just kind of looking to hold the shorts until we rotate the entire profile. But in this particular market condition, I am willing to look for higher lows and higher highs if the conditions call for it as we tap those levels. Now, if we look at some of these higher time frames, daily VWAP is below the 0 line. I would say, 2-day red dot is printing, right? 3-day red dot is looking to print. So again, these pullbacks are not, going to be surprising if they happen, right? It's going to be like, well, hey, we have the high time frame red dots. And then, your 2-day money flow, again, very similar to almost every single altcoin we're going to look at, is technically trending to the upside, right? So we're just going to, same thing on Ethereum, looking for the higher low and the higher high, or higher low and the crossover into the green. In that case, it would be looked at as a lackluster pullback for the continuation, even if we go to the POC for a continuation to the upside. So we'll see how that develops. And just be aware. You are definitely in this key support level that we looked at yesterday. It held once. Is it going to hold again? I don't know. You do have those bear divs and those high time frame red dots. So we'll see what happens. I do think if you're going to hold any of these levels as support and get a big bounce out, I think your best bet is going to be to look for that green dot on the daily. So that is what I would be looking at on Solana. And then on the way to the upside, if we do get a breakout, right, which again, I would assume we're probably going to talk before that happens. You can see here we did reject that previous range value area low, right? I'll just draw this out really quickly for you guys. Bada boom, bada bing, right? We come up. Once you deviate out of a volume profile, you're going to be gravitated towards that previous area of balance, and that previous area of balance is resistance until proven otherwise. So we're kind of just between these two areas of balance, right? So, if we do wind up coming up, reclaim this value area low, that is your doorway to higher prices. And that does sit at about 183.63. So there we go. All right, let me come on into the chat real quick. Shout out to Tundra, says bing bong. Shout out to Tundra. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. Shout out to Dar, said, can we check XRP? You read my mind. That was going to be next on the list. And then we'll jump into yesterday, everybody wanted to take a look at Pengu, so we'll take a quick look at Pengu. We'll take a look at Arrow, and then we'll take some requests from chat. Redemption says, the cycle's over. The cycle's over. No alt season, Bitcoin to 0, which I will say this. I'm going to try to make an argument for that, right? As you guys know, I did not fall in the camp that this was the bear market at the low. We were open to the idea if we were to get a rejection at that golden pocket for a lower low, that would be very alarming if we had high time frame money flow coming out. We did not see that. We had new information on the chart for the breakout to higher prices. We saw that happen. Technically, when you're looking for lower highs and lower lows on price based off your Fibonacci levels, the golden pocket's the first major area to look for that to come in. But the end of that zone for the high probability lower high does come in at the 786. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You would really have to get a strong loss of that 786, right? Because at the end of the day, technically this whole zone is like this, right? So maybe you put in a lower high, maybe you come back in here, and you would have to really start losing that. And then at that point, you would still be able to validly say that that is your lower high. And at the end of the day, you could do something like that too. But yeah, I don't fall in that camp that the cycle is over. But hey, like I said, guys, I'm an agnostic trader. I think the worst thing to have in trading is an ego, right? So I try to kill my ego. I could be wrong. The cycle could be over. But again, I did not feel that down here when everyone was calling for it, and here we are, right? And again, this doesn't mean that it's definitely not. We haven't broken new all-time highs yet, but people say it's the bear market every time there's a big dump to the downside. Eventually they'll be right, but yeah, I mean, that would be the argument, right? You'd have to really lose that 786, in my opinion. But yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe the cycle is over, but that's just not the camp that I fall in. And it's all based off information and technical analysis, right? It's not just because I feel bullish and I'm a perma bull on crypto. I'm definitely a perma bull on crypto. I think Bitcoin is going to go up and to the right over the next X amount of years, right? Just look at the historic chart here. We talked about this yesterday. Bitcoin's been in a massive bull run this entire time at the end of the day, right? It's the strongest asset on earth. So yeah, even if you do go into a bigger bear market, right? I don't know, let's say we do dump from here and this is the bear market again, not the camp that I fall in. But you maybe go for a 70-something% correction. I don't know, down to yeah, I don't know. If you did though, at the end of the day, in the long term, right, you're probably just going to continue the historic trend of higher lows and higher highs. Every cycle, this is the last Bitcoin bull run, or this is the golden bull run. You got those same people on each side, right? People who think it's never going to go back up to all-time highs. You have the people that think it's going to go down forever, up forever. And that's why we just stick to the charts, right? We look for those signals, and that plays out more often than not. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The one thing I will say, weekly money flow, as we've talked about a lot when we were talking about the golden pocket retracement, into this level right here for a big dump to the downside. Right, if you put in that lower high at the golden pocket for a massive lower low, I honestly, that wouldn't have really called for bear market either. It would greatly increase the chances because of our weekly money flow. As you guys know, the weekly money flow is that simple, huge signal that has nailed the continuation of a massive bear market every single time it happened. Every weekly money flow crossover into the red, boom, massive dump into the bear market, boom, massive dump into the bear market. Same thing here, boom, massive dump into the bear market. So, I will say this. One of the things that I do want to see here that we kind of need is going to be this money, like this money flow. Technically, if this VWAP keeps coming down and we get a bigger retracement, this would technically be a lower high on the weekly money flow. And that really wouldn't look good in my opinion. But again, this takes a long time to turn around. And you can see if you just look at it locally, we're not really rounding off just yet. VWAP is coming down, but we'll see what happens. It takes a long time for this money flow to develop, but that is something to look at, right? Like you could sometimes get these like these little pushes up on money flow, and then it just continues to the downside. I could try to find an example of that. Like this cycle was very, very clear, right? Just clear continuation of money flow to the downside. And then like, this is where everyone was looking for 100K. That crossover into the red, boom, massive bear market. But you guys can see here, like sometimes you come down, you come up, you come down, and then eventually you come into the bigger green wave. And then, but even here, right, you come down, you come up, lower high, technical, like almost to the pixel, equal high, almost a lower high, and you just continue out. That is not what we want to see. But again, I can't make a decision based off that right this second, right? It's like it's too long term. But yeah, let's continue on here. We'll take a quick look at XRP. Now, XRP, obviously, we looked at this not yesterday. I think it was, what day was this? Wednesday. As we were tapping into our value area high, we came up for one tap, got the correction, we came back up, and then on Wednesday, we were looking at the bearish divergences that were forming here at the value area high. You go from the low, flip the low to support, continue your journey into the POC. You flip above that POC. It's like yesterday we were looking for that target to get hit, and now we've already flipped it and gone to our last target at the value area high. But as we looked at here, we do have the higher highs on price action, lower highs on our momentum waves, right? Little bearish divergences, not only on this time frame, but if we look at some lower time frames as well, right? Higher highs on price, lower highs on momentum waves. Now, we don't have a higher high on our wicks, but I do prefer to see those to the bodies. You have the bearish divergence into key resistance, which is the value area high. At that point, you are going to be looking for the continuation down to the point of control, which was confluent on the levels we looked at yesterday. Whoops. On the golden pocket, 786 retracement in confluence with that daily level. And we did get the bounce, right? But it's not looking like it wants to hold very strong. Now, one thing I will talk about here is the 3-day money flow looking across, or 3-hour money flow looking to cross over into the red with a 2-day red dot. Right? If we get that 3-hour money flow crossover, we could anticipate that trend to continue to the downside if we lose that POC 786. Like I said, if you want to bounce here, you really wanted to hold that 786. That was our opportunity, and it looks like we're kind of just eating all that back up. So if we lose that 786, that invalidates that level as a potential area to get the bigger bounce from, and then I will be looking down here to the 786 daily naked point of control at 221. And at that point, again, it's a difficult situation because within the larger profile, you're saying, hey, I lose the POC 786 zone. You could be starting your larger journey back down to the value area low, but I will just mention that you do have the 786 Fibonacci retracement in confluence with that daily naked point of control. Definitely a level you want to watch, but if we lose that POC daily, that could be where we're headed, right? 3-day money flow crossing into the red could indicate the continuation of the downtrend on the 3-hour, which could bring you down there, potentially. So that's what I'd be looking at on XRP. Kind of stinks that we didn't get the strong bounce from there. But again, as you have the bear divs into the value area high, not too shocking, right? And then taking a look at the daily, daily red dot confirmed, 2-day red dot looking to print. And I just don't like this 3-hour money flow. Unless that just fakes out, it does look like we can get a little bit more of a correction here. Let's see. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Thank you for the super chat. Or Tony, thanks you for the super chat. Says happy birthday, Tony D. Happy Friday, everyone. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Thank you for that, bro. We appreciate you, Mark. I would say, I don't think OG of the channel, but you're like a new age OG of the channel. We love Mark Dutch. He's in here every single day, and we appreciate you, and I know Tony D appreciates that super chat. Crypto Billy said Tony D's birthday. All super chats go to Tony. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And I will match everything and cover the YouTube fees, so he gets double, plus not getting robbed by YouTube. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, actually I had to deal with some legal issues over him licking the people. But anyway, shout out to Mark Dutch. Let's continue on here. And we'll take a look at Aerodrome in a minute. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Daddy Coin says, can you see a situation where we form weekly bearish docks? I assume that means weekly bearish divergences. Let's see here. On XRP, potentially. Yeah, I mean, I would say, hey, if we break out of this volume profile, obviously we're going to be looking up towards our next Fibonacci extension level, leading up to about 352. You know, we don't exactly know what this kind of what this structure is going to build out and look like, but yeah, I mean, if you push up and put in higher highs into these Fibonacci zones, you know, you do have an opportunity to put in some weekly bearish divergences. Weekly momentum wave comes down, puts in a lower high. That could be a weekly bearish divergence situation for sure. So yeah, I could see that, right? And on Bitcoin, let's see on Bitcoin, right? You know, you do have an opportunity to put in a weekly bear div there as well. Is that necessarily going, you know, depending on what that looks like, when it happens, what money flow looks like, you know, we'll kind of decide on how we take that. But, you know, technically, you could put in a higher high, right? Weekly bearish divergence, lower high on our momentum waves, bada boom. You could look for the bigger correction. But that's not, I wouldn't say that's like a binary thing, right? Like we're, you know, VWAP's rolling over. I don't know. It depends on if we get it or not, right? And again, we'll assess that situation. I will keep you guys updated. I'll be the first person to let you know if that's happening. But yeah, definitely a situation to do that, right? Like we're technically set up to put that in. Let's see. God will make everything better. Shout out to you. Says happy birthday. Shout out to you, man. Yeah. Shout out to Tony D. Let's see. Yeah, Imran Crypto says exactly. Yeah, 100%. Definitely a possibility. Yo, Tony D, look at the Mafia loves you, bro. I love it. Shout out to Lusha. Thank you for the super chat. Said, Frankie, SFP on the 4-hour at 104 today and daily SFP at 105.8 on Monday isn't enough to bring BTC down. Happy birthday, Tony. Let's see. SFP. Let's see. SFP of 105.8. Shout out to Lusha. We actually talked about that. If you, I assume you kind of just popped in, but if you go to the beginning of the stream, we actually covered that scenario. That's like one of the major levels that I'm waiting for, and some of the things that I'm actually looking for to potentially happen. We just don't know. Like, are we going to sweep the highs before coming down first, or are we just going to continue down from the signals that we looked at earlier on the stream? But yeah, definitely a possibility. We actually looked at that happening. And yeah, that would be an SFP with bearish divergences, which would be a nice sign for a correction. Shout out to Lusha. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for showing Tony D some birthday love. And shout out to Tony D, really trying to milk the doubling his money thing here, just dropping his own money. This should be against policy. Said, I love you all. Thank you. Shout out to Tony D. Let's go, baby. Best community on YouTube, hands down, or hands doing. Shout out to Tony D. Let's go, baby. Let's see. Why is the like button on the comments tweaking? Shout out to Dremer. I don't know. Maybe people are smashing it. Everybody touch that like button and try to stop it from tweaking. We've been worried about that like button for a while. It's, I don't know. It might be on something. But anyway, let's continue on here. I want to take a quick look at Aerodrome. Bada boom. So here we are. Look at that. I believe this is, okay. So what do we have here? This golden pocket pulled from the high to the low. There's the timer. Value area high. So, yeah, I mean, kind of textbook. Man, I wish we looked at this. Yeah, I mean, look at this, guys. If this is not your sign to look at volume profiles, I don't know what will do it. But this is it. You go from the low. This is your doorway to higher prices, specifically the POC. We come up and tap that POC perfectly. We come up. We tap the 786. We play around. But eventually you do fill that range in full up to your value area high with bearish divergences on the daily time frame into your macro value area high. You get the correction, acceptance back into the range, and where do you go? Directly back to the POC. This is the absolute predictability of the volume profiles, guys. I know we have a few different levels on here, but just to kind of show this, right, and why the volume profiles are so nice, I'm actually going to kick this golden pocket up a little bit. Bada boom. But simply put, value area low to the POC. At that point, your doorway to the value area high is open. I mean, you even came down to almost test the value area low again, but you still fill that range in full. What happens up here? You push into the value area high with bearish confirmations. You get stuck in the range. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. Get stuck under the POC. Next likely place for price to go is going to be the value area low / golden pocket anchored VWAP. yeah, that's actually kind of nice. Let me bring up those other levels here real quick. And again, it is a zone. You got that perfect rejection off the 786, literally like to the penny. And then it finally went to fill that range in full. And it just goes to show it's not it doesn't mean it's going to rotate every single time. But even when you get big rejections like this, the laws of the vol, it's like it's programmed into the price action that you have to fill that range in full at some point. Is it the reliability of the volume profiles? It's like more often than not, even if you're scared in a long position from the low, right? You flip that low to support. Maybe you take a long position, POC. Like if you're just holding that trade, more often than not, you will go up to the value area high. And I don't want people to take that as a guarantee. That is not a guarantee, but this is a perfect example of like how likely it is, even when it gets a little bit sketchy. Just right back up to that value area high. Same thing on XRP, right? XRP did the same exact thing, right? You flip the low, front ran the POC. Oh my God, it's not going to work. Actually, it is. It's going to the POC and then the value area high, right? So, simple volume profile stuff here. Like we could totally see the full rotation of these ranges. The biggest levels of support on any of the altcoins, if you're looking at the same levels I am, is the value area low of the range. We could potentially come down here, melt through all this support, and then just get another setup at the value area low, and then maybe that's where we take off. So yeah. It's the same thing here on Aerodrome, right? So those are the key levels to the downside. We are losing that point of control. Unfortunately, if we get stuck underneath there, we could look for the continuation down to the value area low. Golden Pocket Confluence / Anchored VWAP Confluence. And again, this Golden Pocket has to be pulled to the current high, right? So you have your Golden Pocket Anchored VWAP value area low sitting between 54 cents and 50 cents. And then just underneath that, you have the 786. And I don't believe this is an updated chart. Yeah, so I don't have the daily naked points of controls there. But you do have that 786 down there as well. So these would be like the bigger levels I would look at. And then, honorable mention, if you pull from the higher low, yeah, Golden Pocket sitting here, 786. So if I were to kind of look at this as a... let's pull this range real quick. Not the most beautiful confluence there. But these will be honorable mention levels. But again, at that point, it's like that's the difficult situation. It's like, hey, Golden Pocket right into resistance. You don't want to forget about the volume profiles, right? So yeah, that's just a local fib from the swing low to the swing high. But other than that, I would just be looking at this volume profile. If you don't bounce off the local levels, you're just looking right back down here. Money flow crossing over into the red on the 10-hour. Weekly VWAP rolling over. 2-day red dot is confirmed. Again, money flow still has an opportunity to continue trending to the upside, right? Put in a higher low, higher low, higher low, and then eventually you might get the crossover. But yeah, volume profiles are absolutely goated, guys. Like even if you're just looking for scalps here, like high probability moves. So yeah, VPs are goated, baby. 3-day red dot is now printing as well. 4-day red dot looking to print. Yeah, high time frame red dots could continue those altcoin corrections potentially. And maybe on Bitcoin as well, right? Let's pull back up Bitcoin here. Still kind of just wiggling around. But, at the end of the day, from a larger perspective, come down, you don't hold 100K. Maybe Bitcoin does the same thing, right? That would be what the volume profile calls for. I'm just being very cautious of one last sweep of the highs. I would love that. But now that I see a lot of people talking about it, hey, what about the SFP from the 105.8 high? I don't know. Maybe now more people are looking for this. And people are starting to be like, yeah, I don't know. You'll go crazy thinking about all that, though. That's why you just want to have the levels marked out and react off the actual price action. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Aerodrome, absolutely perfect setup there. Or not perfect setup, but a perfect play out of the rejection at the value area high with the confirmations, right? 4-hour bear divs, right? Daily bear div, 12-hour bear div, 16-hour bear div. Like, you just had it all right there. Bada boom. I wish we were looking at this currently because that's like a clean setup. They're not always that clean. Like on Bitcoin, it's not that clean. On this, it was very clean. But all right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Every single like helps push us out into that YouTube algorithm. We appreciate it. It's the freest and easiest way to help push our content out to everybody else and support the channel, and we appreciate you guys so much. Shout out to the Pump said, look at Sol again and give us a prediction. What prediction are you looking for? All-time high predictions? Let me know, the Pumpa. Let me know what you're looking for, and I'll try to give you my best thought. Do you have any value on the upward trend line on Aerodrome on the 4-hour? I don't know exactly what you mean. Something like this. like any kind of key levels, I would say that probably lines up with this local golden pocket. Yeah, I mean, perfectly intersects your golden pocket right there. Like the only thing about that is if you do bounce there, you're kind of just bouncing into the POC. And when you take in the full rotation of that volume profile, it's not that you can't bounce out of there, right? Or even just capitalize on a scalp into the POC. But it's just like the context there is like, I wouldn't classify that as like the best ever trade. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is, right? But for me personally, right, like there's no guarantee we get down to the value area low. But again, like as always, right, like the biggest and best positions are going to be at the value area low for the longs. And for the shorts, the highest probabilities are going to be at the value area high. But you do have that local golden pocket on that trend line. I think that's what you're looking for. So, yeah, you do technically have something there. Do we have the let me just check a naked point of control there. No MPOC. Your MPOC comes closer to that 786, closer to about 60 cents. So you do have the golden pocket there. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I think that's what you're looking for. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto says, does anybody remember cheesy fiesta potatoes at Taco Bell? Glakamoto, I 100% do. Those were bomb. Shout out to Broby, said you're looking at Arrow, LOL. Yes, I think that's that was Solana. He asked about Solana, didn't he? Good call. Did he ask about Solana or Arrow? Well, if you're looking at Solana on the 4-hour, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I guess depends on how you want to pull that. If you look at it like this, I mean, I guess your trend line's confluent with the golden pocket, kind of similar to Arrow. I don't know. I'm not a huge trend line guy, to be quite honest with you. But if you whatever way you pull this, you do have the golden pocket confluent with the full kind of larger trend line, and then this kind of local trend line, your 786 value area high POC is also confluent. So hopefully that's what you're looking for. So yeah, you do have some confluence on both those trend lines and on Arrow as well. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Giga Longbottom. Says, Frankie, could we hear you scream as loud as you can? Happy birthday, Tony D. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. I will do that at the end of the stream. Hopefully I don't break my microphone, and I'll give everybody fair warning. Yeah, shout out to Broby. I think you're right, bro. I think you're right. So hopefully that answers his question. But yeah, I will do that at the end of the stream. Pretty much scream as loud as I can the entire live stream. So it won't be much louder. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Shout out to F-Bomb. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, happy birthday, Tony D! Thanks for all you do, support, and thanks for your 400 friend requests on Discord. Shout out to F-Bomb. Let's go. Shout out to Tony D. Yeah, guys, be careful if Tony D's trying to friend request you. He might not just be inviting you to your birthday party. It might be a scammer trying to get you to send them your seed phrase. We will never ask you for seed phrases or money in a DM or anything like that. And I will never say, hey, I'll trade for you. If you send me $10,000, I'll make you $1,000 a day and send it all back to you. I don't do that. Let's see. Thank you all. Much love. Shout out to Tony D. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Scams be all scam me all about the crypto space. Yeah, shout out to game stuff. You guys got to be careful out there. It's insane. I have literally gotten DMs from fake Frankie Candles to my Frankie Candles Instagram account asking me if they want to trade for me. It's hilarious. They're like, hi, Frankie Candles here. If you send me 100 Bitcoin, it's like whatever it is, send me your seed phrase and I'll trade for you. And I'm like, really? Oh my God, Frankie Candles. Pretty wild. The scams are insane, guys. You got to really be careful out there. It is absolutely insane. Wait, what? I just sent Tony D all of my crypto to come to his birthday party. Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. I wonder how many people fall for that. Shout out to CJ. I really wonder too. I really don't know. It feels fakey candles. Yeah, I don't know. It seems so. I don't know. It's like I get accidentally clicking on a link, but when someone hits you up randomly, that someone you don't know, and they say, hey, I'll give you a bunch of free money. Usually, if it's too good to be true, it is, right? But I guess, when you catch people in really desperate times when they're vulnerable, it's really dirty. It's really dirty stuff. But anyway, let's continue on. We took a look at Arrow. We took a look at Solana. We took a look at Bitcoin. We took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at XRP. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at connect to a computer, and they'll trade for you and steal everything too. Yeah, they'll trade all your crypto from your account to their account. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. Really trying to double his money here, guys. This is crazy. Tony D. Scammers about to be like, hello, it's me, Tony D. My birth today. You send gift, I send 10% back. Also, I'm not actually letting Frank count these as super chats. Shout out to Tony D. No, count them, Tony. Count them. It'll be like a refund. Let's see. I got the real ones in, my friend, so I know who are real. Shout out to Jesse. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, let's see. Chainlink previous low. Shout out to Golden Child. 15-minute SFP. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's take a quick look at Link. Bada boom. All right, so we're getting the rejection from the daily. What do you say? 15-minute SFP. Let's take a look here. Yes, I would say that is a 15-minute SFP. However, not confirmed just yet. You would have to wait for your, actually, it's about to be confirmed. Money flow in the red, no bullish divergences. So it doesn't mean, I wouldn't necessarily call that like an amazing trade. It could play out, could give you the bounce. But really, yeah, really what I would prefer to see there is like an SFP. Oh, you got, 7-minute bull divs. Not there. Let's check the 10-minute. Yeah, but just technically, I would say that is a 15-minute SFP, and it is about to confirm. There you go, SFP confirmed. And there you go. See if you can get the little push up. But again, I wouldn't, SFPs do typically give you something, but I wouldn't necessarily, obviously context is going to be very important. I mean, your 1 hour money flow, 1 hour green dot might be looking to print. No 1 hour bullish divergence, unfortunately, at least from this low to this low. You have a lower low and a lower low. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say like, oh my God, amazing, massive new all-time high type trade. But definitely, if you're talking from a technical perspective, that is a SFP of a wick down below, closure above, candle closure confirmation. So yeah, might be able to, I would just be careful there. It might just be a continuation with your money flow coming to the downside. I don't know. These green dots might print. But yeah, I don't know, money flow coming. I wouldn't say there's a ton of confirmation there. So if it did continue up, I'd be careful around these local Fibonacci retracements for a potential lower high and a lower low. But to answer your quick question, that is for sure an SFP. But not all SFPs are created equal. But technically, that is the candlestick pattern of an SFP. So yeah, let's take a look at the higher time frames here real quick. Let's see what we got going on here. So front ran that daily. Interesting. But at the end of the day, right, we deviate below the lows, reclaim value area low, literally like to the dollar, right? At that point, you're saying, well, hey, we're inside our range. We could be getting accepted. Journey to the POC may be beginning. And it indeed was. You push up to the POC, broke above it, flip it to support, slip it, get back above it, break back above it. Like I said, that POC does like to act as a magnet for price, just kind of like sucking price right to that POC. But once you get above that POC, you are going to be looking for your next horizontal level of resistance at 1707. Did get a little bit of a correction there. So right now, I would say, in the grand scheme of things on a higher time frame for Link, I would go ahead and say, yeah, I mean, POC is still your key level of support. You've already kind of played around with it, slipped it, and reclaimed. I would say at this point, I would prefer really to stay above that point of control, to be quite honest. Pull your fib from the high to the low. So this would technically be like your most obvious Fibonacci retracement level. This sits at about 1498 down to 1415. So yeah, like maybe you come back down, test. That would be a nice area to put in a higher low. Now again, this would be assuming that you're going to continue to rotate the profile and money flow is confluent as well. We're gonna have to see what price looks like when we get down there. I don't know, 8-hour money flow crossover into the red, 10-hour money flow crossover into the red. Higher time frame money flow, 2-day still trying to work its way up. This is probably going to take some time, guys, right? Like even if we correct more. But again, I would say the next biggest signal here on the altcoins is going to be the 2-day money flow. It's okay for it to come back out. We just want higher lows and crossovers into the green. But that would be local support, in my opinion. Hold above that POC, the doorway. 2, I'm going to take this daily off the chart because it's already tapped. At that point, if you do come in, put in your higher low and push up again, continuing your bullish trend to the upside. Next key level would be the weekly at 1869. And again, that would just be overall in the continuation through your volume profile, right? into the value area high for a full fill of that range. But locally, this is definitely your next key level of support. Once you lose the POC, you have the daily down here at 1310. And then, at that point, if you get stuck under the POC, could potentially anticipate the key level. And the most important level within the profile, as of right now, would be the value area low. Because in order to keep, and even if you're going to get the bigger correction down to test, you could still do something like that as long as you hold that value area low. You just don't want to get rejected out of this area of balance. So yeah, that's what I would look at. There's Link. Let's see. Bada boom. Great TA, Frankie. Shout out to Feeling Whitney, one of my favorite Post Malone songs. Actually went to a Post Malone concert last weekend with Mrs. Candles. Super dope. We were pretty dang close. It was pretty cool. Jelly Roll was there. It was awesome. One of the best guys. Listen, if you're not into that kind of music, which I guess Post Malone would be like rap, pop, and country. Like, if you don't like any of those genres, obviously don't go to a Post Malone concert. But I gotta say, if you even like Post Malone or like have a song of his that you like, go see that man live. It's like the best concerts that I've ever been to. I've been to 2 of them. He brings out everybody that he gets featured on a track, he brings out on stage. It's pretty crazy. Like, one of the best live performances I've ever seen in my life. It's not just like play a backtrack and lip sync. It's a amazing show. Shout out to Post Malone. Also, like, arguably like one of the best human beings on earth. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Bada boom, bada bing. I just turned the sensitivity up on my mouse. Now we're going crazy here. Shout out to Soshi Kakamoto. Said, when I was younger, I went on tour 4 times. One time I got so drunk, I passed out in the driveway of some mansion we were partying at. I don't know why I thought about that time, but there you go. Shout out to Soshi Kakamoto. That sounds awesome. Sounds like a great night, honestly. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, Tony D's birthday. All super chats go to Tony. Hashtag Givers Gain. Let's go. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. We're giving all the super chat revenue to Tony D today. So if you want to show love to him, go ahead and do it. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on here. For our red dot, unprinted. Are we going to 105.8? But 30-minute money flow looks like it wants to leave. Yeah, shout out to TDK. Definitely a little bit of a sticky situation there on Bitcoin. And listen, I think, if we do get the bigger pullback on Bitcoin, let's say we get the bigger dump first, that is where obviously it would make sense for all the altcoins to get their pullbacks as well with the high time frame red dots. And that could be what we look for. So yeah, I think that's about all we have on Chainlink. Check the higher time frames. Yeah, three-day red dot. I'll be honest with you. This high time frame money flow is going to be a little bit sketchy, right? If that red dot prints, money flow crosses into the red, we're going to have to take that as it comes. But, see, 4-day money flow coming back up, 5-day money flow coming back up, 6-day money flow coming back up, weekly money flow looking to cross over into the green. So, again, these money flow crossovers aren't instant up situations, right? So we do pull back. That would be the best situation to hold this higher low, right? We lose that, could be looking down towards the value area low. Once you start losing that value area low, to be honest, you're losing the 786 of this entire uptrend. That would be the invalidation for the continuation down to make a new, local lower low here. But that's why I say value area low is going to be that biggest important level. So yeah. Let's see. All right, let's, how are we doing on time? What do we got? Okay, yeah, I got to start. We got some giveaways to get to in just a minute. But last but not least, guys, I'm going to take a look. What is the indicator at the bottom called? That is called Market Cipher B. Market Cipher B. Well, it's just Market Cipher. It comes with a bunch of different stuff, but this particular indicator is Market Cipher B. You'll get more than this with just Market Cipher B, but that is this technical one. The oscillator is called Market Cipher B. If you want to check it out and you want to save 20%, use our link in the description down below. Helps out the channel, and also an amazing indicator that I, by the way, have been using years before I ever knew CryptoFace or had a YouTube channel. I don't just use this as like a paid shill. I use this, and if you guys watch the channel, you know exactly why I use this. It's because it dang works. But yeah. Let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Titan R says, Bing bong, happy birthday. Let's go. Shout out to Gus. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know if that was supposed to say something, but I assume it was supposed to say happy birthday, Tony D. But real quick, guys, let's take a quick look at Pengu because we said we were going to look at this the other day. And actually, we did briefly as we were rejecting The daily naked point of control, we came up in here, got the pullback. Once we break above this level, this still does remain the key level to break above on Pengu, right? Because we do have this gap in between about the daily naked point of control at 0.017, leading us really not much above us until we start pushing into, right? We look at that volume gap. Price likes to move very quickly through these volume gaps. Quick move down oftentimes will lead to a quick move up. So this does still remain valid in my opinion. I'm going to leave this, did we fill the gap, when we break this level, right? Because we rejected it. Once we get back up there and flip it to support, we might be able to see that quick move up through the low volume gap into this next zone sitting between 0.023 and 0.025. And then once you reclaim that value area low, you guys know what that anticipation would be. But we are definitely at these weekly and daily naked point of controls, right? So it would make sense to potentially get a bigger retracement, which would potentially, we have a little bit of a low volume gap here. Daily naked point of control sitting at about 0.011, 0.0112. Daily naked point of control, if we pull our fib from the low to the high, you can see this is also confluent with a 786 Fibonacci retracement. Bada boom. Yeah, so you do have the golden pocket sitting just below us. You do have the golden pocket sitting just below. If you lose that golden pocket, I would definitely be looking for that push into the 786. High volume node here. You have that little consolidation. You could even potentially pull a little profile on that. POC of the range is sitting there too, which is not uncommon with the high volume node there. So yeah, I wouldn't even really have to pay attention to that. I would just be looking at the golden pocket 786 is local support down below. Once you lose that 786, you could be on your way down to your next daily naked point of control at 0.009067. So those are local levels I would be looking at on Pengu. And then from a higher time frame perspective, unfortunately, we don't have a lot to go off of here because there's not a lot of price history, so we don't have a lot of development on Market Cipher B here with the money flow and momentum waves. But yeah, you could argue the 2-day money flow is in a similar situation as everything else. But again, high time frame red dots could continue the retracement. If we do break the low, I would just, again, looking for a potential continuation of the trend. If you just look at your larger Fibonacci retracement, even if you get rid of these local levels, right? Golden pocket, daily naked point of control, these would just be like higher time frame levels. There's no guarantee you come down there, but I would say, yeah, you broke above this. Is that a weekly? Might not be. Yeah, this is a tapped weekly level. Not that it's as important because it's already tapped, but, you broke through it. You might want to flip it to support. But I would say this, right? Like you're full from the low to the high, golden pocket, daily naked point of control confluence, and then you have the 2 daily naked points of controls and the 786 right here. So if we do see a deeper retracement, technically, based off your Fibonacci's, something like that or like that, if we're going to continue up, that would be a kind of like worst case in the bullish scenario, right? That would be like the most bearish bullish scenario. Right? Painful, but at the end of the day, you could still stick a higher low and continue up to higher prices on the higher time frames, right? And then you have those local levels in case you continue up aggressively. And we obviously have the gap up here. So once we break about 0.017, we can expect that fast move up towards our next key level of resistance. So there we go. Hey, shout out to, hang on, we got some super chats here. Shout out to Gus. Thank you for the super chat. Said, bada bing, bada boom. Can you AR USDT and INJ USDT for me? LOL. Shout out to Gus. Thank you for that super chat, bro. I will try to take a look at least one of these, but we do have to get to the giveaways really quickly because we are running out of time here. Shout out to Crypto Paisa. Says, happy birthday, Tony. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And Jay Violet. Thank you for the super chat. Says, happy birthday, Tony D. Hey. Shout out to Tony D. He's getting the love tonight, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Owl in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Let's see. Okay, so we'll take a look. I'll do you, shout out to Gus. Let's take a look at, take a look at Arweave real quick. I must have an Arweave chart somewhere. I know we do. There it is. This is old, but still relevant. We can get rid of these older. I'll keep this profile. We'll take off this. That weekly is tapped. Actually wound up being the level you rejected from. Lower profile right here. Check that weekly. Okay, so let me just see this. Let me extend this out. Ew. Keep it back here. Just mark off that low, that POC, that value area high. the low, the POC, the value area high. Okay, so now we have a little bit of context here. So kind of a clear roadmap for Arweave here. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, 2-day red dot printing, it looks exactly the same as every other altcoin. 2-day red dot printing, money flow, potential opportunity, right? Like if we see this money flow crank out and start putting in lower lows, that's bearish, right? But it's okay to see it kind of ebb and flow here and just kind of wiggle its way up. That would be nice. But at the end of the day, this is the deviation below your low. It's actually kind of early here for Arweave. A lot of things have already moved a lot more, right? Higher lows on your momentum waves, lower lows on your price. You got the bull div as your price action is undervalued below your value area low. You can look for the bounce. Get gravitated towards that value area low, resistance until proven otherwise, resistance until proven otherwise. So as long as you can continue this uptrend and flip that value area low to support, that could, value area low, by the way, 817, that could open up the door to the POC at 1014. Flip that POC, look up towards 1325 to your value area high. Now, I will just kind of give you the bigger levels here because you could come and find, you can go down and find the local levels as well. But I would say if you were going to go for that, full golden pocket retracement, sits right here. And let me see something real quick. Okay, so you do have a daily NPOC. Just mark some of these out. Daily naked point of control. Daily naked point of control. Got another daily right there. And you even have one right hither. Boom. Let me just check the weeklies. Okay, this is a daily plus weekly MPOC. That's nice. And then you have another weekly MPOC right here. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. So I would say, this daily and weekly, let me see this real quick. Come down to a lower time frame. Let's pull it. That's the last low before breaking this structure. Okay, so locally, these would be like your local levels, right? Golden pocket, daily and weekly MPOC, that does sit right here at about 678 to 650. 678 to 662. And then just underneath, or not, I wouldn't say just underneath that, but then you also have a daily MPOC on the 786. So that's your local fib. That's kind of your like first area that I would look at. Try to pull this volume profile. Let me see this. Pull it from the low to the high. Yeah, I mean, these are really the first two major zones, right? Your full golden pocket retracement from the low comes in right here on that daily naked point of control, 786, local 786 confluence. And then your golden pocket and your two NPOC sitting right up here. That's actually confluent with your value area high as well. So I'm actually going to extend that. I'm going to hide this MPOC because there's no confluence. POC 786. I'm just going to give you a few of these levels, right? I know it's a lot, but if this is kind of how I would look at it. Got your high, your POC, your low. So, yeah, I mean, it's another one of those situations, right? It's like, you would hope to hold on top of the value area high, right? Like, that's your best bet. Get above the value area low, flip into the higher prices, right? Once you get below the value area high, it's just my brain automatically turns towards a bigger correction down through the profile, right? But there's no guarantee you're going to fill that, especially if this is going to be the start of a bigger uptrend like we've seen happen on a lot of other assets. So that's why we'd be looking at these local levels. So yeah, first level sits between $6.93 to $6.62. Second zone, sits right here between 629 and 614. Then below that, you have your POC 786 sitting at about 555, about 555, right? Once you lose that, I'm probably favoring the move to the value area low at that point, right? Because then at that point, you're losing your full 786 retracement. If you're going to put in a higher low here for a continuation of the uptrend, losing that 786 invalidates it. You're also losing the POC of your range. Value area low is much more likely. Only other situation I could see there is like you wick into that weekly MPOC, in which case you don't really decisively lose the POC, right? You kind of just wick below it, close above, and then send it. But at the end of the day, that's kind of your line in the sand to get that move down to the value area low and potentially put in new lows. So there you go. Looking at Market Cipher B, take a look at the daily. Yeah, I mean, just clear road to higher prices above you, too. You want to flip 817. Flip 817. That's your move into the POC. Flip that, go into the value area high. So you want to get accepted into that value. And just looking at this from a simple standpoint, deviate below the low. Very likely you're going to see rejections at the value area low at first. And then once you get in there, that's where you can look for the bigger move up. So that's what I'd be looking at on Arweave. Daily money flow in the green. 2-day money flow looks exactly like everything else. 3-day red dot is printing. Let's check that 3-hour money flow. Yeah, it's that 3-hour money flow looks like we can get the bigger continuations down on some of these alts. I will say that. But again, the longer term context, hopefully we could see that money flow continue up on the 2-day. But, we'll have to wait for more information, right? If we mega dump and this thing starts tanking, that's much more bearish. I would look for another low. But as of right now, 786 at 555, 557-ish. I would say 555. That's really the level, if you come down there, that you want to put the higher low in at to get the bigger move up. If not, you just kind of want to stay above that where we are right now and flip that value area low to support to get the fill of the range. So there we go. Let's see. Bada boom. Okay, so let's go ahead and shout out to Give Tyler Durden a race. Says, you deserve all the love, Tony. Let's go. Shout out to Tony. He deserves more than all the love. Like I said, if there was no Tony D, there is no Frankie Candles. So yeah, that is what we're looking at, guys. We got to get into these. Giveaways real quick. So yeah, speaking of Tony D, at Tony D, let's go ahead and run that giveaway, and let's see who we got on the winners list. And maybe I'll take a look while he's doing that. We'll take a look at INJ as well. Bada boom. Tony D said, guys, stop. All right, let's go ahead and continue on here. Let's just check in on chat, make sure I didn't miss anything fun. I always feel like I'm missing out on chat. I'm not going to lie. You guys are always having so much fun here, and I'm just stuck working, man. Let's see. Okay. Let's take a quick look at INJ. Let's go. 10 bags of ADA. Let's go. AFA. 10 bags of AFA. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Okay. Okay, here we go. INJ. I don't think this is our INJ chart. Whoops. Bada boom. Maybe I'll start a new INJ chart because I don't think we have a new one here. Yeah, we'll start a new INJ chart, and we'll do it over here. All right, so let's take a look here. Taking a look at the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly, actually. Just get my bearings here real quick. Yeah, look at that. This is why looking at previous volume profiles is so important. Because hey, if we lose our larger profile up here and we impulse down, you have a very fast move up, which could lead to a very fast move down through that low volume gap, as we always look at, right? Kind of hard to see there, but if I zoom in, we might be able to see it a little better. Come on, volume. There we go. So come on, volume. Come on. There you go. So yeah, I mean, you lose that. Really, your next high volume node is down here. These high volume nodes act as magnets for price. Fast move up equals fast move down. You saw that fill perfectly. And then, like, where are you going to be looking for your next long? Well, you'd say, hey, if you're going to lose this upper volume profile, price is very likely to get attracted to the previous area balance, which is so clearly sitting right here. Price comes down, dips into that volume profile, gets stuck below that value area high, can't break back out. You go back down to the POC, wherever that was. I don't want to go back and look for it, but I'm sure it very likely was probably right there or right here. I guess we will go back and look at it. Just mark it out real quick. And there it is, right there. You go back down to the value area low, deviate below, get back in, back to the POC, back above the POC. You look for the high, get back above the high, flip the value area high to support, bigger breakout. Not too shabby. But let me just go ahead and let me draw these. Let me just draw these levels real quick. guess I'll pull it on the daily. Okay. I'll clean that up later. So yeah, daily money flow crossover into the red. I mean, in the green. I'm sorry. 3-day red dot, 2-day red dot. Yeah. So I mean, listen, if you continue down, I mean, off the higher time frame red dots, which is not impossible. Golden pocket retracement. I'd probably pull this local one first. Yeah, so you have golden pocket, value area high confluence. That does come in at about... That does come in at about 1062 all the way up to about 1095. So that would be kind of your first golden pocket retracement that you could look for. You know, 786 is, you know, it's back in the profile. I would kind of prefer to bounce off the golden pocket, right? Because you don't want to get accepted back into this lower value. You get stuck inside this value area high. You know, you don't bounce off that 786, you know, probably going down to the POC. Lose that POC, probably going back down to the low. So, you know, I don't really want to cover every nitty-gritty local level. I want to really cover the more important levels, which, in my opinion, right, like the biggest level to stay above is going to be this value area high. So I would probably, you know, I'll keep that level on the chart because it's not useless, but POC golden pocket could see something like that. But again, you know, I don't love long in the middle of a range, but it's not possible to see that happen. And then if you break down below that, at least you're retesting the value area high of your previous lower range and the value area low of your local range, right? So these would be like the three major levels to look at if you want to hold the trend to the upside. You're hoping to bounce off this, hoping to bounce off this. You lose that, looking to go here. Once you lose this, I don't really like that. You're probably going lower, in my opinion. So yeah, without the super, super local levels, I'd probably say, let me see if I can get some MPOC confluence here. Okay, yeah, so, you know, on that golden pocket, you know, you do also have a daily MPOC. So that is nice. That makes that level a little bit more attractive, in my opinion. So yeah, those are... Drag that on down to here. Yeah, it's just it's 786 I don't like, really. It's just kind of in no man's land. You have the POs, the naked point of control, golden pocket value area high. That's 3 levels of confluence. You lose that. You have the POC golden pocket. That's at least a little bit confluent. And then once you lose that, I'd really prefer to see the 786 value area low. And then once you lose that, much more bearish in my opinion. So yeah, I would watch this level if you continue down. And then hopefully you don't get accepted back into this lower value. And then to the upside, obviously, major range to get above, regardless of what happens here. If you are going to continue up, regardless of where you bounce from, this level here, 16, 17, is the level to get above to call for the bigger move to the upside. Just like when you lose this range and get rejected out of it, you expect the bigger move down to your previous value area. Same thing on the way back up. Once you impulse out of your, and I'm just going to get rid of these real quick. Right, once you impulse out of your lower range, right, you're saying, well, hey, price is probably going to gravitate to where? Its previous area of balance. Price always seeks out fair value. And that just is what it is. So yeah, that's what I would look at. And again, I'll just put these on the chart in case you guys want to copy them. So there you go. That's your value area low, lower range, and then the golden pocket retracements that I just talked about. And there we go. Giveaway winners have been announced. Let's get it. Shout out to Cayenne. Shout out to Roadrunner. Shout out to Lionheart. Shout out to Cuz I Can Bump It, or Koozie Can as I like to call him. Michael S., Rick Manning, Bazooka, Golden Child, yo, shout out to, I think Golden Child said this is my chance to win. Shout out to Golden Child. Discipline, MC, Master, get in the free Discord to claim. Shout out to get into the free Discord to claim. I'm just kidding. But shout out to everybody who just won a free bag of Cardano. Let's go. And yeah, let's see. I won the Discord one this week. Yeah, shout out to Jay Violet. Let's go. Shout out to Jay Violet. Congratulations. And congratulations to everybody who won some free crypto on today's live stream, and shout out to Tony D for his birthday. But guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out here till the end of the stream. Wishing Tony a happy birthday. So let's see what happens here on Bitcoin. If you just tuned in, go back to the beginning of the stream. You'll get my full thoughts on Bitcoin. I'm just waiting for that higher level or the lower level to look for my next trade, and we'll see what that weekend brings us, guys. On the altcoins, watch the higher time frame red dots for the bigger retracements. But with all that being said, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Go outside, touch some grass over the weekend, and have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are having fun. I got to go do something with Tony for his birthday. So we'll see you guys on Monday. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Smash that like button on your way out. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Lower that volume, guys. We got to scream happy birthday as loud as we can for Tony D. Who asked for that? Gig along bottom. Shout out to you, bro. All right, here we go. Shout out to Tony D. Lower your volume right now because we're about to break those eardrums in 3, 2. Mrs. Candle's going to come in and throw something at me. 1. Happy birthday, Tony D! Let's go. I got to get out of here, guys. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on the road. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. On the road,